this is Miss Drew with Defiant Soil and Water Conservation District, and this is week 5 of our Summer Boredom Buster Challenge. So, this week's challenge is to create a nature journal. So, your first step is to grab an empty notebook or journal. So you may be asking why we are creating a nature journal. Nature journals are great ways to reflect on nature or what we want to experience in nature or what we have experienced in nature. Once we reflect on those things, it makes us build a better connection for the environment and maybe grow to love the environment in a way. And once we have that love or appreciation for nature and the environment, it makes us want to do good for the environment through conservation work. So writing these things down is a great way to build that connection. So what do we write about? We write about things that we've experienced in nature. You can tell a story or describe a hike or a nature walk that you've experienced, or you can describe if you were a part of nature in one way or another. What would you be? Would you be a certain kind of wildlife, like a bird, like a bear? Or would you be an element like water? Would you be the earth? Could you be something that grows like a tree? What describes you in nature? What do you feel connection with? Or you could maybe tell about your favorite season. What are your favorite things about each season, or just about your one favorite season? You can describe the most beautiful place you've ever been, or maybe the most beautiful sunset you've ever seen. There's many ways to reflect on nature in our nature journal. So you can write about anything that you want to, but I would love to share with you one of my stories that I wrote down that I've experienced out in nature. After a 4-day trek through the Smoky Mountain National Park, it was the last stretch of our hiking adventure. Waking up that morning to rays of sunshine against the ceiling of the tent and the cool morning air being way up in the mountains, I decided to crawl out of my tent. Walking through the trees to get a clear sight of how high up I was, I see what everyone has been talking about, the smoke. It wasn't exactly smoke, but the mist weaved its way through the mountains below, heavy like smoke, as if there were a fire within the valley. The sun came over the ridge, and I have never seen anything more beautiful. As the smoky mist lifted, I looked forward to the final day being all downhill back to the trailhead. I packed up and away I went. My legs were wobbly at first from being so used to walking uphill, but I got the hang of it. The wildflowers were so thick in the valley, I neared the last few miles as I followed the riverbank. Happy about its beauty, I began to sing songs as I walked until I came upon a pile of poop in the middle of the trail. Thankfully, not stepping in it, the fresh poop, I recognized that it belonged to a bear. Because I grew up around bear, I didn't fear the idea of them being around, since it was unlikely that I would see the bear before it saw me and ran off. Black bears are skittish when they don't have their young with them. So I continued to sing, forgetting about the bear poo, admiring the tall trees as I walked on, and suddenly see something abnormally dark about 20 yards away. Trying to make out what it was, I recognized its face. It's a bear. Wait, a bear with something on its back? I questioned myself, then realized as I stopped dead in my tracks, it's a cub trying to climb a tree off Mom's back. Everything became very quiet. Fumbling through my mind of what to do, I threw my hands up in the air and began to wave them above my head, as I sang a song even louder than before. This is a tactic my friend used on a trip she told me about. The bears didn't move an inch, but Mama Bear watched me as I continued slowly up the trail, singing loudly and waving my hands in the air. She finally became out of sight, but everything felt like it was in slow motion. Happy to escape, I finished my last part of the trail, and as I rounded the corner, the parking lot where my car was parked was surrounded by monarch butterflies. They were there for the shallow puddles of water that came from the night's rain. What a way to end my trip. Thank you for listening to my story. I would love to hear your story. If you want to send me a video of you reading it, that would be awesome. Otherwise, send me pictures of your nature journals. I would love to see them. Until next week, have a good one.